Good morning, it's Wisdom Wednesdays. I am Ariana Newcomer, Dove Oracle Priestess, now certified biofield tuning practitioner. And I am going to talk to you today about why I don't want you to be fearless. There are a lot of teachings out there about how to be fearless. And in fact, one of the first business coaching programs I was in was about being fearless. And I find that that's really not helpful. In my own personal growth journey, the most valuable things that I have learned that led me into greater self-love and to greater growth and spiritual growth also were the teachings that taught me to embrace all the parts of myself. And so I don't try to get rid of my ego either. So that might be a topic for another time. There is a positive function for ego, and there's a positive function for fear in our lives. It's really important, actually, to our survival that we have our fear response and that we can actually get flooded with adrenaline and cortisol and run away from something that's truly threatening our lives. In a number of cases, the way women have been brought up, we have been taught to be really nice and to be nice first of all. And so there are times when we have not listened to that inner voice that says, oh, don't get in the elevator with that guy, or don't go down this street at this time. And we've actually been attacked because we didn't listen to our inner intuition, that fear, that gut sense that was telling us, no, there's danger for you. Also, we've really been trained out of trusting our intuition and trusting our guts, and we need to come back into that. And I taught the first class of a new Wise Woman immersion group yesterday, and I always read a portion of Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, to the class. And there's this wonderful piece in here about working with fear. So this is the book. And this book is about creativity and how do you foster creativity in your life? How do you have your authentic creative journey? And one of the things she talks about right at the very beginning of the book is it's not about getting rid of fear. So I'm going to read you some of this here. The fear you need and the fear you don't need. So it is true that some of the teachings about being fearless, what they're trying to do are to get you to do it anyway. You may have heard the phrase, feel the fear and do it anyway. That's a little bit better than let's be fearless. Let's just shut down that fear. Because anytime we shut down something, we're pushing down an actual part of ourselves. We're not acknowledging it. We're shaming it. We're shaming ourselves for having it. And so in the long run, it really is not helpful. When we come into more of that being in harmony with ourselves, then we can actually really move forward. And the reason I read this at the beginning of every Wise Woman immersion is that jumping into a personal growth and spiritual growth program of any kind brings up fear. The fear comes up. So we need to acknowledge it right at the beginning and say, okay, there's going to be fear that comes up when we're doing this deep work, when we're making these shifts and changes within ourselves. Some inner parts are going to say, no way, we're not doing this. This is too scary. And when we really acknowledge that, then we can actually keep going and continue to do the things while holding this fearful part in love. So Liz Gilbert says, now, you probably think I'm going to tell you that you must become fearless in order to live a more creative life. But I'm not going to tell you that because I don't happen to believe it's true. Creativity is a path for the brave, yes, but it is not a path for the fearless. And it is important to recognize the distinction. Now, I'm going to ask you to add the word growth whenever I read the word creativity in Liz Gilbert's words. think the word growth as well. Growth is a path for the brave, yes, but it is not a path for the fearless. And it's important to recognize the distinction. Bravery means doing something scary. Fearlessness means not even understanding what the word scary means. If your goal in life is to become fearless, then I believe you're already on the wrong path, because the only truly fearless people I've ever met were straight up sociopaths and a few exceptionally reckless 3-year-olds. And those aren't good role models for anyone. The truth is, you need your fear for obvious reasons of basic survival. You do need your fear in order to protect you from actual dangers, but you don't need your fear in the realm of creative expression or growth. Just because you don't need your fear doesn't mean your fear won't show up. Trust me, your fear will always show up, especially when you're trying to be inventive or innovative or grow. This is all totally natural and human. It's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. That's really important. It is nothing to be ashamed of. It is, however, something that very much needs to be dealt with. Here's how I've learned to deal with my fear. I made a decision a long time ago that if I want creativity in my life, and I do, then I will have to make space for fear too. Plenty of space. I decided that I would need to build an expansive enough interior life that my fear and my creativity could peacefully coexist, since it appeared that they would always be together. In fact, it seems to me that my fear and my creativity are basically conjoined twins, as evidenced by the fact that creativity cannot take a single step forward without fear marching right alongside it. Fear and creativity shared a womb. They were born at the same time, and they still share some vital organs. That is why we have to be careful of how we handle our fear. Because I've noticed that when people try to kill off their fear, they end up inadvertently murdering their creativity in the process. So, stepping off of Liz Gilbert for just a moment, this is really, really appropriate to the times that we're trying to grow and learn and shift and change. Also, if we're trying to be fearless, if we're trying to kill off our fear, we inadvertently murder our growth process. Excuse me, morning allergies. We murder our ability to truly grow and learn and grow spiritually and grow personally. Okay, back to Liz Gilbert. So I don't try to kill off my fear. I don't go to war against it. Instead, I make heaps of space for it. I allow my fear to live and breathe and stretch out its legs comfortably. It seems to me that the less I fight my fear, the less it fights back. Stepping away again from Liz Gilbert. This is just a crucial point. The less we fight our fear, the less it fights back. So being in fear about doing our personal growth, spiritual growth work can actually shut us down. The fear or the fearful inner parts can actually shut the whole process down and prevent us from actually doing the things that we truly desire to do. And this is why so many teachings are trying to get us to be fearless. But to me, this is a much more effective way in the long run of working with fear and making fear into an ally. So we need to recognize it, allow it to be there, don't fight it. So back to Liz Gilbert. If I can relax, fear relaxes too. In fact, I cordially invite fear to come along with me everywhere I go. I even have a welcome speech prepared for fear, which I deliver right before embarking on any new project or big adventure. It goes something like this. Dearest fear, creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you'll be joining us because you always do. I acknowledge that you believe you have an important job to do in my life and that you take your job seriously. Apparently, your job is to induce complete panic whenever I'm about to do anything interesting. And may I say, you are superb at your job. So by all means, keep doing your job if you feel you must. But I will also be doing my job on this road trip, which is to work hard and stay focused. And creativity will be doing its job and growth, which is to remain stimulating and inspiring. There's plenty of room in this vehicle for all of us, so make yourself at home. But understand this, creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. I recognize and respect that you are part of this family, so I will never exclude you from our activities. But still, your suggestions will never be followed. You're allowed to have a seat and you're allowed to have a voice, but you are not allowed to have a vote. You're not allowed to touch the road maps. You're not allowed to suggest detours. You're not allowed to fiddle with the temperature. Dude, you are not even allowed to touch the radio. But above all else, my dear old familiar friend, you are absolutely forbidden to drive. Then we head off together, me and creativity and fear, side by side forever, advancing once more into the terrifying but marvelous terrain of unknown outcome. And then she has a little paragraph about why it's worth it to dive into creativity and to, as I'm using this for growth, also to dive into our personal growth and spiritual growth work. It isn't always comfortable or easy. And by the way, our personal growth is completely tied into our creative abilities. It isn't always comfortable or easy, but it's always worth it. Because if you can't learn to travel comfortably alongside your fear, then you'll never be able to go anywhere interesting or do anything interesting. And that would be a pity, because your life is short and rare and amazing and miraculous. And you want to do really interesting things and make really interesting things while you're still here. I know that's what you want for yourself, because that's what I want for myself too. It's what we all want. And you have treasures hidden within you, extraordinary treasures. And so do I. And so does everyone around us. And bringing those treasures to light takes work and faith and focus and courage and hours of devotion, and the clock is ticking and the world is spinning, and we simply do not have time anymore to think so small. So thank you, Liz Gilbert, for those wonderful words, for that inspiration that I always give to the members of the Wise Women Immersion as we're beginning this journey together. So this is some of the deep work that we do in the Wise Women Immersion, is harmonizing our inner parts so that we can have that greater inner alignment, so that we can actually claim our wisdom, reclaim our voices, claim our creativity, and create the next sacred reinvention of ourselves and move forward into that next phase of life, whatever it is. There's still time to join us. The course is all online. All the classes are recorded. It'll be easy for you to catch up. I'm going to pop a link into the comments where you can check out the Wise Women Immersion, learn a little bit more. So in any case, though, don't be fearless. Love your fear. Put it in the backseat of the car, and always take it with you in harmony and with respect. See you next time.